welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess and I love doing DIY, making clothes in a simply but free way. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you how I make this dreamy dress. I first saw this dress when Selena wore it in her music video and I really wanted to make it because it's just so beautiful. But I was worried that it wouldn't come out nicely because it looked difficult to make. And the design of this dress is quite complicated for a non-professional person like me. So I didn't do that at that time. But I saw it again when Kendall wore it on her Instagram. Then one of you guys requested me to make it right after that. And it's was enough motivation for me to try it out. I have to say that it was a challenge for myself when making this dress because I have to learn about the design, the technique and each part of the dress. They are new to me and I haven't done anything similar like that before. So I was looking over and over as on the photo of this dress that I could find to understand the design and also to find a simple way to make it. But it's a worthy challenge. I earned myself some new techniques and experience in sewing. The dress come out just perfect and I love it so much. So I was trying to make as many details as I could in the video so you guys can follow and make one for yourself. I hope you will like this tutorial and try it out. And let's start making this wonderful dress.
The original dress is made of silk for bowman fabric and lining fabric. So I was trying my best to find a similar floral printing in silk. I use cotton fabric for the lining to make a sturdy shape for the hand, because the silk fabric is quite soft and flutter. I use one of my favorite dresses with the fitted top to copy the pattern. You should use the cotton or not stretching fabric of the dress or top to copy the right pattern. I draw along the edge lines of the back of the dress to create the back pattern for the top of the dress. After that, I add the seam allowance at the shoulders, neck and underarmpit line. Don't forget to check the measurement of your pattern at the shoulder and the underarmpit line to make sure it fits your body. The width of my shoulder is 36 cm. The width of my underarmpit side will be a half of my bust side plus 2 cm for seam allowance. Because the neck of the dress I use is quite big, but the original dress we want to make is quite small at the neck, so I make the neck of the back pattern smaller. The width of the neck I want is 20 cm, so I draw two lines at two sides of the middle line of the neck with 9 cm width. After that, I draw the new necklines and also the new shoulder lines. Because we will put the zipper at the back of the dress, so I add a 1 cm seam allowance at the middle of the back pattern. The length of the back pattern is 38 cm, which is the length from my shoulder to a bit above my belly button. I use the back pattern to create the front pattern for the top of the dress, but the front will be lower than the back a bit at the shoulder, so I move down the shoulder line 2 cm. After that, I draw a bit more curve for the sleeve line. From the middle of the neck, I mark down 8 cm. Then I mark at 11 cm outside from this mark for the first shape of the neck. then connecting this mark to two ends of the neckline. Then I move down again 11 cm to create the dip of the neck of the dress. Make sure the dip of the dress won't be lower than the under armpit line. Then connecting it to two marks at two sides I made before that to finish the shape of the neck of the dress. As you can see, the original dress has the line from the first shape of the neck going down to the side line. So I mark at 5 cm on the side line to connect to two marks on the neck. So the bust area will be separate with the rest of the top. After that, I draw a horizontal line at the end of the front pattern. The length of the front pattern is 36 cm, which is 2 cm shorter than the back pattern. Because the front pattern is from 4 pieces, so we need to add the seam allowance at the connected part of each piece. However, the bustier part had a ruffle, so I increased the width of this part to create a ruffle there later. Moving to the hand pattern, I use the pattern of the back and one pattern of the front at the sleeve to make the sleeve pattern for the dress. I check the width of two sleeves by connecting two patterns together first. Then I draw a line with the same width to start making my sleeve pattern. After that, I apply the sleeve part of the back and the front pattern to two ends of the line I just drew. But I just drew a short part of the sleeve from the end of it and keep the rest open, so we can create the perfect for the sleeve there later. Remember to mark the back and the front of the sleeve to connect it to the main bodice later. From the middle of the straight line, I draw a horizontal line to divide the sleeve into two parts. From the middle mark on the straight line, I mark at the right side 50 cm, which is the length of the perfect area of the sleeve that I want. Then I draw a circle from two curved lines to connect to this mark, and it's the perfect area of the sleeve. The left side of the straight line will be the length of the sleeve from the under armpit, so I mark at 24 cm from the middle mark on the straight line to the left side of the horizontal line. I draw another straight line from that mark after that. Then I mark at 15 cm each side from the middle of this line, which is the half of my arm side plus 3 cm. Now I'm applying the pattern to the fabric and drawing. However, at the second front pattern, apply the neckline of this pattern at the folding line fabric. After cutting, I connect two pieces of the second front pattern together at the middle line, then sewing. After that, I connect two pieces of its second front part to keep them not moving and stay together. As you can see, the original dress had the fold of the fabric to create a perfect from there to the bust area. So I make two folds at the top of the second front part, and sew to keep my fold together. Now I'm connecting the back and the first front pattern together at the shoulder lines, doing the same for the lining part of the back and the first front part. Now I'm connecting the first front part and the second front part together. Make sure the second front part will be in the middle of two first front parts. I also connect the rest of the neckline of two first front part and the neckline of the back part together. After sewing, I make the understitching seam to keep on the end fabric to one side. Then connecting the front and the back part together at the side lines. After cutting the sleeve, I create some fold at under the ambiguous lines of the sleeve to create the ruffle feeling there. Then connecting to under ambiguous line together after that. After sewing, check the final width up under the ambiguous first to keep working on the lining part of the sleeve later. Because the fold make the under ambiguous of the sleeve shorter than the pattern, and I want to create the fold for the lining of the sleeve, so I recut the length of the lining sleeve part to be the same as the new under ambiguous of the sleeve that we checked before that. Don't forget to check the width of the end sleeve of the lining to be the same with the end of the sleeve, so we can connect them together after. After sewing, I upside the lining sleeve to hide on the seam inside, then connecting the sleeve and the lining together at the rest of the sleeve. At the middle of the circle on the sleeve, I start making the mask with 1 cm from the middle, then 4 cm after that. Doing the same for the left and the right from the middle of the circle, so you can create the fold after that. The number of the folds will depend on the length of the sleeve at the front and the back part, so remember to check the total length of the sleeve after folding to make sure it will be the same with the total length of the sleeve at the front and the back part, so you can connect them together later. But remember, the fold at two sides from the middle of the circle will be in the opposite direction to each other. At the end of the bust area, I'm making a loose seam first, then I create the puffy later. However, at the middle of the bust line, I make a few folds to make the puffy there bigger than the rest, just to make it similar to the original dress. Make sure the final width of the bust line there will be right at the middle of the main bodice, which is a quarter of the bust side. Moving to the bottom of the dress, I didn't make the pattern for it as it will need a lot of paper, so I'm drawing straight on my fabric. However, I have to say it's quite hard to draw on silk fabric, so you should make a pattern for this. As you can see, the bottom of the dress had the folding feeling at the end. That means the width at the end of the bottom have to be bigger than the top of the bottom. And you only can create this feeling by cutting the fabric in fold. You will need one piece for the front and two pieces for the back of the bottom dress. To make the front piece, I fold the width of the fabric to the length of it first. Then from the folding line, I draw a 18 cm line which is a quarter of my under bust side plus 1 cm for seam allowance. From the cutting between this line and the folding line, I mark at 10 cm on the folding line. This is the length from the end of the neck to the end of the main bodice. After that, I connect this mark to the other end of the 18 cm line, and it's the under bust line that will connect to the under bust line of the top. I also make another mark on the folding line with 40 cm from this mark. This is the length from the end of my neck on the top to the middle of my hip. Then I draw another line with 35 cm, which is 1.5 times a quarter of my hip size. The bigger you make at this line will create the bigger folding at the end of the dress. After that, I draw a line connecting two ends of the inside lines to create the side line for the end of the front bottom part. Now I'm making the ending line of the front bottom part by drawing a curved line from the top to 100 cm, which is the length from the end of the neck to over my ankle. And here's my front bottom part of the dress after cutting. To make the back bottom part of the dress, I'm also using the faux fabric, but I will make the folding line of the fabric to be the middle of the back bottom part. I draw a curved line from the top of the folding line to the end of it first. Then from the cutting point of the curved line and the folding line, I mark up at 100 cm, which is the length of the front bottom part. From this mark, I move down and mark at 10 cm, which is the length from the end of the neck to the end of the top. Then I draw a 18 cm line from this mark to inside. From the top mark on the folding line, I mark down at 40 cm, which is the length from the end of the neck to the middle of my hip. Then drawing a 35 cm line from that mark to inside and connecting two ends of the inside line together. In fact, it's just like you make another front bottom part. But as you can see at the original dress, the end of the back bottom parts have more folding feeling than the front. It means the end of the back bottom part is bigger than the end of the front. That's why I move the side line of the back bottom part outside as much as I can by drawing a line parallel with it. From the end of the new side line, I mark up at 90 cm, which is the length of the front side line, so you can connect them together later. Then I make the new line for the top of the back bottom part from this mark. The width of the top bottom part will be 19 cm, which is a quarter of my under bust side plus 2 cm for seam allowance. I draw a line from one end of the 19 cm line to the end of the folding line to create the middle line for the back bottom part. And here are two pieces of the back bottom part of the dress after cutting. Now I'm connecting the front and the back of the bottom part together at the side lines, then sewing. I cut two long rectangles with 12 cm width and around 45 cm length, which is longer than a half of my under bust side. I connect two ends of the length line together first. Then I connect it to the top of the bottom part later. Then sewing. As you see here, on the original dress, it has the folding at two ends of the rectangle. So I create two folds at two ends of the rectangles. Then sew to fix. Next step is finishing the end of the dress. As you can see, at the original dress, the end of the front is a little shorter than the end of the back. So don't forget to cut it a bit before finishing the end of the dress. And the last step is putting the flower to the middle of two breasts and at two ends of the sleeve. And I finished this DIY. Here's my final result. I truly feel like a princess in this dress. It's so pretty and dreamy. So I try my best in explaining to help you can make it for yourself. See you next week.